Join the team.
Hey team, it's McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at two brand new products from Wizkids. We have two new Warbands, and I absolutely love these Warband sets. But before we get into those, we are going to talk a little bit about value here, because I think it is important to understand what you're getting in these Warband sets and how they kind of compare to one another. You will see the Goblin Warband set, which I absolutely love. Again, don't get me wrong. I love these Warband sets. I think they are a fantastic product and offering for what you get. But we are going to talk about some things from a review perspective, because that is only fair because this is a review channel. You will notice you never see the paid promotion. This is not a paid promotional video. This is not a paid review, a paid preview, whatever you want to call it. I do receive these products from Wizkids. Not everything on the channel I've done from Wizkids I have been given, but quite a bit of it, that is the case. These products were sent to me for review. I did not purchase these with my own money, but it is not a paid promotional spot. So that's why these are called a review, and we are going to look at them from a review perspective. And I feel like that's the way that it should be, because it keeps it fair. And that's just how it should be, right? I mean, we should be looking at what we're getting and the value of what we're getting. And I think Wizkids has always done a very, very good job. They've got top-level quality products, and the offerings are fantastic. Okay? With that said, there's a couple things we're going to mention. But here is the Goblin Warband, and if you want to watch the video on that and the unboxing on that or the review on that, you can go to the channel and watch the video on the Goblin Warband. Absolutely love it. We got 6 models in the Goblin Warband. Here is the Cobalt Warband. This one is coming out in July. It is still for pre-order, but it's supposed to release this month, July 2021. Here is the new Orc Warband, which is fantastic as well. This one is supposed to release in the August time frame, and it is for pre-order as well out there. So you've got the Orc Warband and the Cobalt Warband. I'm going to look at something with these when it comes to the price point and the value of what you're getting, and then you as a consumer need to then make the decision with that type of information. This Warband was $24.99, and we're only going to look at it from an MSRP perspective. And the reason is because you can find all of these much cheaper across the internet than the MSRP. So understand that as well. Even if the MSRP is a little higher, you're going to get a much better price by buying it from different internet outlets. But this one, MSRP was $24.99. Okay, you got 6 models. It's probably the best comparison with this one versus this one. Okay, let's do that again. Probably the best comparison with this one versus this one. This one here has 8 models, so you're getting more models. They are about the same size. They're kind of that smaller stature. Some of them are a little bit bigger, obviously, with the wings, and you do have some translucent material as well in here. You do have quite a few. You have this one here, and we'll get it out of the package in a minute. That's kind of like swinging a kind of a staff with some like some stones on it. You've got a little bit of that like kind of wind giving it that action, where you don't really have that on any of these. It's mainly just the goblin in a pose holding some form of a weapon. There isn't a lot of those other type of things. Other than this one that's jumping, it's got a little bit of that there. Okay? So there's definitely an upgrade in what you're getting with the Cobalt Warband in the materials that are being used, as well as the poses. Now, doing these wings and sculpting all that, it's obviously more that has to be it's a more detailed mold to do something like that than to just do, a character in one solid position. Because, you got the wings behind the character and then the character itself. So those things are different. And you're getting 2 more models in this set than you would get in this set. Okay? Now, those are the differences. The MSRP on this set is $44.99. So $24.99, $44.99. So what you're going to have to see as a consumer is that price point difference between essentially 25 and 45, so $20. There's essentially a $20 price point difference between these two sets. Is getting maybe a little bit more sculpting on this set, maybe a little bit more of the fire, like the different like attack effects, as well as 2 more models. Is that worth the $20 price point difference for you as a consumer? For me, I feel like it is. You know, you kind of work in there. Well, you're paying around, you know, $4 something a model, so there's another $8, and then you got the extra spell effects where you're getting 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3 spell effects on the kobolds within the set. So maybe there's another, you know, $8, $9 worth of value. And then you do have some sculpts that got the wings and a little bit more to them. So, you know, you're getting pretty close to now the price point differences between these sets. So for me, from a review perspective, I believe the value is there. I would only say that as these sets go on, I would be cautious about the MSRP and final price point of these, because once you start to get into that $45 and $50 range, you're now getting very, very close to other products that are going to be close to those price points that may come with a lot more value, for one reason or the other. So that's the only thing that I would start to think about when these price points start to get a little higher for these sets like this. And I'm talking to everybody now, like that, talking to Wizkids, talking to consumers, talking to everybody. So that's just some input from a price point perspective and from a review perspective with the value, because I'm big on value of what you're getting. Other than that, I think I've said enough about kind of the comparison of the MSRPs. I want to leave this one kind of out of that comparison, because there's really nothing yet that I would have right now to directly compare against this. This is also going to hold a $44.99 MSRP. So these are both going to be at the exact same MSRP price point, which is a little interesting, to tell you the truth, as well, if we want to just directly compare the two of these. If you're thinking, well, I only have the money to get one of these warbands, which one do I get? Maybe you like kobolds better than you like orcs, but the orcs are obviously, you get 8 of these, just like you get 8 in this pack. And these are you can see they're much larger models, and the paint job is fantastic. And you generally have to have the paint job really good and tight on these larger ones, because the smears and the mess ups are going to be a lot more visible than they would on something that's so tiny like these orcs or these kobolds. Although the paint job on these sets are fantastic. And I will have to say that from a quality perspective, these warbands are nuts in comparison to like other lines within their products. These little warband sets, they're done so well. They're super premium. Every single sculpt is different. That's another thing of why you have to think about the value of why this might carry a higher MSRP. Every single model in the sculpt is completely different, and they're very dynamic poses. They're not just like, you know, soldier stances where they're just like standing there, or museum poses you would call within the action figure realm or the 6 scale figure realm of posing. It's not just a museum pose. These are all very highly dynamic poses and sculpts. And that's going to carry some more cost, right, with actual manufacturing and production of these sets as well. I know I've kind of gone on about this for a while, and you probably want to see me just get into the product, and I'm going to, but I feel like this is a very important message to say and to kind of go through, because these sets are so fantastic. I want to see them be really successful, so it is important that from a manufacturing and an MSRP perspective, they hit right on the mark. So we continue to see the success of these sets, because they really are absolutely fantastic. By far one of my favorite products within the line. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the Cobalt Warband. Here we're going to, on the back, get some awesome artwork. Pretty simple. Cobalt Warband tells you got 8 of them in there. They're all pre-painted figures. Obviously, that goes into the value of what you're getting. I'm not sure that I'd want to... You know, that might be interesting to see these sets release in an unpainted perspective as well, and maybe drop that MSRP a little bit because all that painting is not going into it. That might be actually kind of cool to get a whole set of these that are unpainted that you could go through and paint yourself. But, you know, for someone who doesn't paint or someone who just wants to get the set and send their adventurers up against a unit of kobolds, this is a great offering. So, you know, something to think about there as well. I hate opening these packages because they look so awesome. That's another thing I love about this product line, is the packaging is just so cool. So let's pull these open. All right, and I'm just going to rip it open because I'm not going to save it. Okay, so we're going to set this over here. I'm not talking about these today. If you want to watch the video on the Goblin Warband, you can go check that video out. Get this. Oh, hang on a second. We got some artwork on the back of this as well. I can see much better now that I get it out of the pack. It's really cool. Got some hanging on some crates there. One's eating like an apple. That's a pretty neat piece of artwork. Okay, done with that. Get the box open. Pretty simple the way it comes out. I do like this little graphic insert they do. I think that's really neat. I'm big on packaging, so that actually does make a difference to me. And then each one of these we will pop out quickly. Okay, we've now got the kobolds out of the package. This one did break immediately taking it out of the package, and it was probably my fault, but it's just also something to understand. Sometimes these sculpts are they're one piece, right? So you can rip it out of a package, and they're tucked down in there, and they're really secure, because the last thing you want in an open face pack like that is one of these models like falling out and like jiggling around in there. That just it's not appealing, right? That's not the pack you want to pick up and buy. If you are buying this right in person, it's just not appealing, right? You want it all in the pack. So, you know, they're locked in there pretty good normally. You should always be careful and from the very back kind of push up and pop it out. And I just didn't. I grabbed it and I tried to pull it right out of there. And this was a model that was made in two pieces. And the wing got caught and popped, you know, it popped it right off. Not that big of a deal. I'll put a little spot of super glue. I'll actually do that here before we start looking at each one of the miniatures. That way you can see the way that it's supposed to look. It'll glue right back in and you'll never know that it actually came apart. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's something to understand when you're unboxing the stuff. And I've done this before in other videos. There's nothing like paying $45 for a set like this, and then you've got a sculpt that's immediately broken coming out of the pack. Again, was my fault because I didn't really push up from the back and I just kind of pulled it out. But, you know, again, review video. So you're going to get what the reality of what it is. Okay, so as we're going through each one of these, Bear's going to hit us with an overhead cam. Actually, the miniature cam Bear's going to hit us with. And you're going to be able to see each one of these miniatures up close. And you can see how cool they really are. And you can see how good the paint job is on each one of these. Here we got the first kobold holding a crossbow and a sword. I thought it was a club, but it's not. Just like an old kind of clunky sword. Wearing just a very simple, tethered sort of bottom piece there. Really nice paint job. They got the eyes, the teeth, everything's painted up. I like the skin tone, the red, the nice black washing. They look great. That one looks really cool. Kind of a simple pose, but just the classic Cobalt look. We'll put it right out there. This one here with the wings, you'll notice the two that we have with the wings. I really like this one where it's holding kind of, it looks like, I think that's just a rock. It's holding like a rock, ready to throw a rock. And then it's got that dagger in the other hand up against that wing. That was a really cool dynamic pose there and a choice with going with that other hand. And it's really sculpted. Let's see. No, it's not. I thought it was connected. It's not connected. That's actually a separate piece. I thought that hand and that knife was actually sculpted into the wing. And it's not. So that is. I'm actually going to probably push that back a little bit if I can, bend that back a little bit to show a little bit more of that separation. That looks really cool. I love how he's throwing that rock. This guy here is another one of my favorites. He's got the backpack on, which what looks like I'm going to say that's a skunk in the back of that little pack. That's a really cool choice there. That's really interesting. That's a little skunk that's in that I'm almost certain that's what that is. A little skunk that's in that little pack. And then he's got kind of that staff there where he's coming up with it, and they've got a little bit of that effect coming off the staff. So really cool. This one whirling the slingshot there, and this one's actually got a little bit more of a translucent red to it. Some of them are much darker. Some of them have a little bit more of the translucent look to them. This one definitely has a little bit more of that translucent look where the light's going to shine through that body a little bit more, but love the effect on... I love that effect on the slingshot, or the little sling there that he's swinging around. What a cool model would that be to put down, maybe at some height as taking a shot at one of the players. This one here is a favorite. I love the way that the snout is done on this Kobold with the hood sort of up over and the ears poking out. I really like just the spear and the particular type of shield that they chose for the sculpting on that one. That one may be one of my favorite pieces from this set. I don't know why, I just really like that one. And then we have two more here, one with just like a pick and one with a club. So I would say there's probably three of them that have more of kind of a just standard, jump out of the cavern Kobold kind of feel and look to them, just carrying like a simple, weapon, a club, and they're just kind of ready to come at you. And then you've got, I would say, 5 other ones that are a little bit more on the advanced side that you can use, and that's nice that they did that set that way as well. So you can use them in different ways. Maybe this is more of your elite group, or this is kind of the standard group. Maybe you have some of them. I would probably arrange it where you run into a few standos, and then then you hit some more elite kobolds that have a little bit better weapons and or maybe more hit points, or maybe a higher level of dex or something like that. So again, fantastic set, awesome poses, awesome paint job. All of that is off the charts from my opinion. I think it's dead on. Awesome set. Okay, on to our Orc Warband. Same thing, very similar. You got a little bit of artwork on the back here, which actually is really cool. Got some, looks like an elf hiding behind a tree, being hunted by some orcs in a forest, as well as, again, Icons of the Realm, Orc Warband, content 8 orcs. Okay, that's what you're going to see. Awesome artwork on the front. I am looking forward, because it's kind of hard to see what the artwork is on the very back of that until you get this package open. So looking forward to see what that artwork looks like. Okay, it is the same. This one's the same as it was on the back. I thought it was different on the Cobalt one, but this is the same as it was on the back. It's kind of got those orcs kind of stalking through the forest there. Okay, get this open and pop these out. Again, we're going to pop these out carefully, although I don't think any of these are going to be an issue. These all look like pretty solid, chunky pieces. Okay, we have got the orcs out of the pack, and they look absolutely fantastic. These orcs are awesome. And you get a really wide range of looks and styles as well with this particular set. So, for instance, here is like what I would consider kind of a classic standard orc. He's got the spear on the back, the big cleaving sword, a huge, just raw iron shield or steel shield. Kind of the classic look as far as the attire, just the screaming war band, ready to go in and cleave. So this is kind of more of your standard style orc. But then there's ones like this that have kind of this almost, I don't want to say zombie-like, but it's like this swamp-like orc with just like boils, and it's all like a lighter, more kind of swamp thing, green color in comparison to some of the other ones that have more of the tan, kind of bluish style skin. Just a very different looking style orc. So that's very interesting. And then you got this one here that's more of like kind of a woodland type orc with the furs and the big capes that are made of bear and wolf. And then you have something like this that is more of a monster zombie type orc, where the hands are kind of in claws, and it's a little bit I would say, leaner looking than the other ones as far as a build is concerned. It's got a little bit of a different style face, more kind of the white paint sort of on the face and on different areas of the skin. This has a little bit more of a zombie monster orc type look to it. Now on the bottom, it is called the Orc Clan of Luthic. So I just love the differences in what you get. And something here on the bottom, they each come from like different areas as well. So like if we look at this one here, the one we were just looking at with kind of the claws, it says it's the Orc Claw of Luthic, 3 of 8, right? Where this one says this is an Orc War Chief. So here's the Orc War Chief with the big flowing cape coming off, holding that axe. That's an awesome sculpt. These are awesome. And then this one's the Orc Red Fang of Shargus, 7 of 8. So you can see that they're from like different types of clans, and each one looks completely different. So this set's a little bit different. It's not, these are all just goblins. Like if you looked at this first set, it was just goblin. They were just goblins. It was goblin whatever of 6, right? Looking at the Cobalt set, and we didn't actually say this when we looked through, but looking at the Cobalt set, some of these just say, they say Cobalt Underling, Cobalt Commoner, so I had that right. These are more of the common like Cobalts. But then if you are looking at more of these quote unquote elite ones, you'll see this is the Cobalt Inventor, the guy carrying the little skunk with the staff. This is the Inventor. This one's just called the Cobalt. This one is called a Cobalt Dragon Shield. This one is a Cobalt Scale Sorcerer. So you can see that they carry sort of that different branding in the name. So I would say that's kind of an upgrade with this set than what we got here as well. And on these, it's not just they're all orcs, but like Orc Fighter, Orc Sorcerer, Orc Druid, whatever. They're actually orcs from different types of regions and clans, which is pretty awesome. That's very cool. So you can see on the miniature cam up close on each one of these models and how cool they are. But team, that has been the brand new Wizkids Kobold and Ork Warbands. Again, the Cobalt one is coming out in the month of July 2021. It's still on pre-order. And the Orc Warband is going to be released in the August time frame is the plan for that one as well. I do highly suggest you get your hands on all 3 of these Warband sets, as they really are absolutely fantastic. They come pre-painted. They're very dynamic and sculpted. It really provides for a DM or a collector. If you just want to have these and collect them, for a set, that's cool. But for a DM, it really provides a way to just have in one small package anything that you would pretty much need for any of these types of enemy groups, and you're ready to go for your players. And it feels fresh, it feels dynamic, and you can introduce these at different times over the course of a campaign, and every time it looks different. It isn't like, oh, there's that same orc model again. So well done, Wizkids, on these Warband offerings. They're absolutely fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what comes out next as we get more and more of these Warbands. Hopefully we get more and more of these Warbands. All right, so hit that like, hit the subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them, crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.